I'm on one recently. I'm just buzzing with new insight, integrating a lot. I've done a lot of self-work or self-play, to reframe that, over the last week. So there's a lot of integrations, and I'll probably talk about more of the kind of things I've been doing. But I want to talk about what I named this live video, how to be attractive in every way. So when you hear attractive, most people just think of physical or sexual attraction. That's just one aspect of it. And here's something that I've been noticing with attraction, and it's all kinds of attraction. Again, it's physical, sexual, and then also like attracting abundance and being attractive in terms of your personal brand even. So there are so many different types of attraction. And this is the secret to all of it. And it's going to sound cliche, but it's so true. And I will discuss and break down some tools for it. So the secret to attraction, mastering attraction, is being yourself. Yeah, being yourself. Or just being. That's really what it is. And now I'll get into the why and the how. So it's really about being yourself. Just being yourself. And really, when it comes down to it, just being. And it has to do with several things. One is the source. Being in tune with the source, in tune with the infinite, in tune with whatever you believe a higher power to be. Whatever that might be or look like for you, it's being connected to that. And then being in alignment. So being in alignment with that higher truth, however you may view it. So get clear on your definition of that first, and then align yourself with that higher aspect that's beyond the ego and beyond the analytical mind. And then it's about not only being in alignment, but surrendering to that alignment. So tuning into that within you, because there is no God or anything outside of you. Getting really intimate with that and being in alignment with that. When there's a disconnect between the source within and maybe your words or actions, then that disconnect is like a place of power leakage. It's like a schism. So then you have the power from source that's leaking out and not getting to your physical body, to your physical mind. But when you're in alignment, all of that energy, all that divine energy, literally all that is coming through your physical vessel and your mind and your emotional body and all that. It's fully embodying the divine in your body. It's not about escaping here or whatever. It's about being that higher self here in this reality, because we have the opportunity to do so. And this may sound a little woo-woo for some people, but that's really what it is, embodying divinity here. And when you do that and you're in full alignment with it, that's the most attractive thing in the fucking world. Because think about it, the people that are the most attractive are the ones that, like, let's say, have the words we use around it. They're radiating. That's one thing that you feel. These people are radiating. If someone's attractive in any way, look at any artist or entrepreneur. They're very attractive because they're themselves. They're inspiring. They're tuning into some kind of inspiration that is beyond just what you can think. That's beyond the ego. They're tapping into something bigger. So that's attractive. And it goes beyond the physical, like I said. People can be physically attractive on one level, but they don't have that radiance. When people have that holistic radiance, that's so attractive on every level. And then when you begin to tap into this stuff and exude it, people want to be around you. Maybe sexuality is one aspect of it, but it's also wanting to connect with you, wanting to help you, because you're in, I keep saying alignment. Alignment. Integrity. Integrity is when everything is aligned. Integrity is when your connection to source is aligned with your intuition, is aligned with your thoughts, is aligned with your words, is aligned with your actions. And like I said before, that's a flow of power. And actually the flow goes like, starting from here, I think the heart is the center, from within, and it expands outwards and radiates it, and there's no schism to have leakage in that flow. And what I've been doing, especially over the last week, is learning to surrender even more deeply. So I'm getting out, breaking out of the fucking prison of the ego and the analytical mind, and really surrendering to this higher intelligence that's within me. And I'm using my ego and I'm using my analytical mind to carry out what I need to in the physical world, but I'm not a slave to it. It's just one room in the house, or one room in a whole world or a whole universe, but most people confine themselves to the room. So that's really one big aspect, is finding that, getting in tune with that higher power within and living in alignment with it and surrendering to that higher power within. Because another thing is, we think surrender is something negative or like weak, but it's actually strength. And it's not really, I'll say it this way, it's more like surrendering your ego, surrendering your egoic control of everything, trying to overanalyze everything and control every situation and force things. That's what you're surrendering. You're surrendering that egoic control. And once you do that, then that divine brilliance opens up. Then you start to get intuition. Then things start flowing into your life because you become more attractive, because you're radiating that divinity. When you're radiating that divinity, you become more attractive. So then you're attracting things that serve you into your life. You're creating an impression upon space-time. Like when you step on a trampoline, things flow to you. So that's what you do when you tap into the divine within. You're impressing upon space-time, and then things are flowing to you instead of trying to chase or force everything. And as above, so below, you can look at like the dating scene. If you go out, like let's say you're a guy going out looking for a girl. I've done this a lot in New York City back in the day. If you go out and you're constantly trying to force and seek things, it never works out. And people can feel that because you come off as desperate or forceful or things like that. But when you just be, and you're confident in your being, you literally attract people to you. It's crazy, well, it's sane how that works. It makes complete sense. So things flow to you. That's the difference. There's no need to force things and to try to control situations and other people. And once you surrender to something greater than the ego, than the analytical mind, then things come to you. Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna make some more points, but forgot what I was gonna say about this. There's so many rabbit holes to go. Oh, so like some actual tangible techniques to do this, to get in tune with the source within, the divinity. So one technique is to have, I'm going to give a bunch right here. One is to clearly define things. So I like to tune into the stillness. I call it pure potentiality, source. So when I meditate, I get into this place of no thought where it's just stillness, but it's dazzling stillness. It's so peaceful. And I know that is the point from which all creation flows out of. That's source. Infinite stillness, infinite potential. So I like to define the divinity or even God in those kind of senses. It's that stillness within, that place of pure potential within. And since I'm clear on that, and I've experienced it so many times on a daily basis, I know instantly how to connect to it. So then I draw upon that power because I'm in alignment with it. I'm in alignment with that stillness because I feel it in me at all times. And from there, it's that connection of power. That stillness flows and goes to the intuition, which goes to my thoughts, which goes to my words, because I'm very mindful of the words that I use, of the spells that I cast. And then the actions. So it's all in alignment. So that gives me more power. If there's a disconnection, like I said, because this is a really crucial concept to understand, if there's a disconnection at any point of that chain of self, if there's a disconnection everywhere, then you're leaking power. And when you're leaking power, you're not going to be attractive. Maybe in some way you might be attractive, but not in a holistic way, not in all ways. So that's one thing, getting clear on what that means. 2 is to do some kind of mindfulness or meditation practice to connect yourself with that on a daily basis. Connect yourself to that higher power. Feel it, experience it on a daily basis. Because if you've never felt and experienced it, then it's just some abstract concept, or maybe you won't believe it, or something like that. So this allows you to stop, to get over the doubt, essentially, because I used to doubt all that stuff. I would read about people talking about this kind of stuff and be like, sounds cool, but like, I don't know. So I'd have that lingering doubt in my mind, and when you have that lingering doubt, you're not going to tap into it. So you want to do things that allow you to experience this stuff, because when it's experiential, then you really understand what it is. Then it's not just a concept. So do something like meditation every single day. And in the beginning, you're going to have all your thoughts thinking about what the kid in 8th grade said to you at the lunch table and all that stuff. But when you practice meditation every day, even for a few minutes, then you're going to tune into this source. Then you're going to have experiences beyond your ego, beyond your conscious mind. So you're going to get used to this state, and you're going to acquaint yourself to this aspect of self. So meditate every day, acquaint yourself with this. And then that, through doing this on a daily basis, regularly, you're going to strengthen that connection. And when you strengthen that connection, you're going to be more in alignment. So to repeat, because I think meditation and mindfulness practices are like the most important thing, you acquaint yourself with the divine within. So it's not just an abstract concept anymore, and you don't have that lingering doubt or that skepticism, but you're experiencing it. And when it's experiential to you, then you truly understand what it is, and then you acquaint yourself more and more with that aspect of self. Again, it's a practice. So do that kind of stuff on a daily basis. Sit and meditate and watch your thoughts for 5 minutes a day. Acquaint yourself with the divine within. And the more you acquaint yourself, the more you build that connection. And then eventually you start embodying that in physical reality. And that's the magic. You're always building that connection and strengthening that connection. And it's a daily practice. It's not just something that comes overnight like that. It's gradual. I've felt myself doing it more and more over the last 4 or 5 years. And here's another thing. This one is to more get in touch with spontaneity, getting out of your kind of egoic control patterns. It's a practice that I got from the book Outrageous Openness. So it's taking a few hours in a day to do something like spontaneous adventures. So don't plan anything, just go somewhere, go into a town or into the woods, wherever, and have an unplanned few hours and just flow with whatever comes. Be spontaneous with it. Spontaneously flow with your intuition. Whatever happens, happens. Don't plan anything, just go with it. If you talk to someone and they're like, hey, I'm going here, just go with them there, if it feels right, of course. Or just whatever floats your boat. You know, like, oh, that tree looks cool, I'm going to go over to that tree. I'm going to walk down that path. Just have a spontaneous few hours and learn to just trust your intuition instead of trying to plan and control everything. So that's another technique. Have a spontaneous afternoon. Let's see if I could think of any other ones. Do something like I'm doing now. Just record a video and just flow with the whatever you're saying. Let inspiration flow through you instead of having a plan or trying to overanalyze things. Let it flow. Another thing is free writing. So take out a journal and just write what comes to you. And these are all practices. These are all muscles that build your connection to that divine within, to that source within. And it allows that flow to happen, and that flow to flow through you, and that connection to be an unbroken line of alignment and integrity, instead of, like I said, creating that disconnect where you're leaking energy. So try out those practices to strengthen that connection, and in doing so, you become more and more attractive in every way. Attractive in terms of relationships, attractive in terms of what you want, because you're going to be living in alignment with your highest purpose, so you're going to be attracting the abundance necessary to live out your higher purpose, whatever that may look like. So you're literally just allowing things to flow to you that serve your highest good when you're living out your higher self. You're attracting what you need naturally, because it's a natural extension of being that. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. If anyone's on here and has questions about tapping into the source within, or wants me to repeat anything, I'll do that. Any questions? Let's see who's on here. Natalie's on here. Hey Natalie. Hey Jack. Oh, Jack just tuned in. Cool. Yeah, basically I'll just summarize everything again since you just got on, Jack. Oh, Vicky loved it. Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, so I said to be attractive in every way is to be yourself, which is really just to be. And being yourself is being in alignment with source, being in alignment with source, which is, in terms of you physically, us physically, is our own unique ray of the divine sun, to use an example, to embody that unique extension of source, to fully embody that unique extension of source. So it's all about tuning in to that source, tuning into the divine within, getting clear on what that is, first of all, experiencing it, and deepening your connection with it until you're literally embodying divinity in a unique way. You're becoming a unique extension of divinity as yourself. The physical self is an embodiment of divinity, a unique embodiment of divinity. So it's being in alignment with source, with your intuition, because tapping into that stillness allows intuition to flow, and then having your thoughts in alignment with that, your words in alignment with that, and your actions in alignment with that. And when you're in alignment, that's integrity, but also when you're in alignment, the full power of source is flowing through that whole unbroken chain. Because if there's a disconnect at anywhere, let's say you like to talk the talk, but your actions don't back it up, then there's a schism there and you're leaking energy. So when you're allowing that power, that energy to flow all the way through, you're literally embodying source. You're embodying infinite potential. Your infinite potential manifested as your unique self. And that is powerful. So then you're impressing upon space-time reality. You're creating a big impression upon space-time reality because you are literally bringing that divinity up in here And like on a trampoline, you're creating a big impression, and then things are flowing to you. So then you no longer have to force things with the ego. You no longer have to chase things. You no longer have to try to control things. Things just flow as they should, because that's the natural state when things are in alignment. Damn, that sounded good. And then how to do it is getting clear on your definitions of what a higher power or source or whatever within means, because it's not something external. All is self. Meditation, mindfulness practices, being spontaneous, taking an afternoon to do spontaneous things. Things like recording videos or expressing yourself through speech and allowing the wisdom to flow through you. I didn't plan on doing this. I just got inspired to do it, and I'm letting it flow through me. This isn't calculated ego stuff. This is just a flow. Also, free writing is really good too. So those are techniques to strengthen that within you, strengthen that connection and that alignment, and then you become more attractive in every way. Again, attracting the right relationships and people, attracting the right tools you need to carry out your mission, because when you're in full alignment, you naturally get the tools you need to carry out your higher self's mission on this earth plane. It just comes to you because that's how it is. It's effortless. That's how it's meant to be until you get confined to the prison of your ego, which makes everything hard and difficult, and you need to control everything and try to force everything and all that. You can take your ego with you, you can take your analytical mind with you, but surrender to that divine within. Surrender your ego to the divine within and then flow. Because it's really like when you do these practices to get yourself more connected, to build that connection with the divine within, that's basically like you're making your way to a stream. And then when you're there, you jump in the water because you know where it's leading. You jump in the water and you know where it's going to, and you let it take you. You jump in that water. And to continue with this kind of metaphor, no metaphor is perfect, so it's an imperfect metaphor like all. But when you're in your ego, what you're doing is you're on the banks of the river, you're still following the river, but you're bushwhacking along the banks and you're tripping over yourself, falling into the river sometimes and all that. So it's like you know where you want to go. You could either bushwhack on the side or just chill in the river and let it take you. Then you can get out and go to the next river if you want, to continue that metaphor. But like, do you want to spend your time struggling, bushwhacking on the on the bank of the river and falling around and fumbling and making it harder than it needs to be for yourself? Or do you want to just jump in the river, chill, and float for a bit? So that's the metaphor. Yeah. And to wrap up, embodying your higher self, embodying divinity in this dimension through the unique lens of your physical body, through that unique lens. When you do that, that's the most attractive thing ever. You attract the relationships you need, you attract the abundance in your life you need. That's what happens. And I've been experiencing this more and more. Life is becoming more graceful. It's more of an effortless flowing, and things are just coming into my life at more and more rapid rates. When before I used to try to force things. Like I would work so hard for everything and barely have anything to show for it. But now it's like effortless. Things are just coming in. It's amazing. So find that divinity within, build that connection with it on a daily basis, and embody it in this reality. Because if you're not doing that, you're doing a disservice to yourself and the world by not doing that. So I want to repeat this just one more time before I wrap up. Find that connection to the divine within, get clear on what it is, and then embark on practices, daily, regular practices to build and strengthen that connection. Surrender to it. Surrender your ego to the divine, and then things just come to you. That's being attractive. Things just come to you. So if you're just joining in, what's up, Nicole? If you're just joining in, I'm going to end it right now because I've been talking for a while. And yeah, you can watch this again. Feel free to leave questions or comments below the video. And yeah, embody the divine within, because that's what we're here to do. And you're not going to get burned at the stake or anything for doing that now. The world needs us to be doing this. So if this resonates with you, start doing it. All right, embody that divine within in your own unique way. Be yourself. All right, peace, peace, much love, and one love, baby. Yeah.